Hey guys, I'm Tara. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about something that I believe is foundational for our overall health and wellness. So we're talking about body awareness and the importance of knowing your body. For those of you who follow me for my more holistic living type content, this is part of it because holistic wellness is about caring for all parts of our being, so body, mind, and soul. So we cannot forget about the body. In the work that I do, I'm able to see that there are a lot of people who are very disconnected from their body. So that's why I think this is an important topic to share. And if you're thinking, why should I care about body awareness? Let's look at it this way. Our body is our home in this lifetime, and it's the vehicle that helps us to interact with this world. So we need to take care of it. But the thing is, I get that it can be hard to take care of something that you don't really understand. So I'm not saying that you need a PhD or something in anatomy and physiology, but having some basic understanding of your body can really help you to move through life with more ease and confidence, and it can be deeply impactful for your wellness. I always use this example of looking at a car. You wouldn't drive a car without some basic knowledge of the car. And I'm saying like really basics. Like imagine you didn't know how to turn on your windshield wipers and it started raining. We need this basic understanding of how the car operates. When we at least have some understanding of the car, we know when something's off and we know when we need to seek external help, right? So if you hear a weird sound, it kind of raises the alarm. And maybe you have no idea what it means, but you know, hey, this is something that's off. Let me find someone who can help me with this. So I hope this example kind of helps you understand why body awareness is important and why we need this basic understanding. When you understand yourself, you're more likely to notice when something feels off, when you need to rest, when you need to seek help, and it can even be helpful in preventing injuries. Think about like a high level athlete. Most of them probably don't have medical degrees. They probably didn't have any formal education in anatomy, but they have incredible body awareness. They know what their bodies need and they know what doesn't serve them. So, this is all just to say that you don't need formal education to improve your body awareness. Your body is always communicating, it really is a communication system. It's constantly sending you signals, right? So, say your stomach's growling, your body is saying, hey, I'm hungry. That's a simple one that most of us know, right? Say something feels painful, that's your body saying, hey, pay attention, something's not right. And I will say a little disclaimer with the pain example that this signaling can get a little more complex in people who have chronic pain, but that's a whole topic in itself. If you want more information, I'll link a post in the description of this video where you can learn more about that. So sometimes when we go back to the pain signal, sometimes pain signals are super clear. So your lower back hurts and something's going on with your lower back. But sometimes these pain signals are not as clear, like when something is feeling off in your foot, like your foot's tingling, and you think something is going on with your foot, but then you actually find out it's a nerve being pinched in your lower back. And this is just an example to kind of highlight the complexity of the body, and it's not to make you feel overwhelmed. It's just to remind you why sometimes it's important to have that body awareness to know when you need to go see a medical professional, right? And the better that you understand your body, the easier it's going to be to communicate to a medical professional about an issue that you may be experiencing, right? And the better you can communicate, the better and more accurate help that you'll be able to receive. Also, if you understand your body and you have good body awareness, this is going to help you when you're working on a treatment plan with your doctor, your physical therapist, your medical professional, whoever you're working with. Okay, moving on to how body awareness can help with your fitness. So, knowing some basic anatomy, especially about the muscles and your joints, can actually make your workouts more effective. So let's say you're doing an exercise to work on your glutes, but you only feel it in your quads. If you know what muscle you're supposed to be targeting in that exercise, you can adjust your form and actually get the benefits that you're seeking from that exercise. Same goes for doing like stretching. If you're trying to stretch, say, your piriformis, which is a deeper muscle underneath your glutes, but you're doing a stretch and you only feel it in the front of your hip. You'll know that's not right, and you'll know you need to make an adjustment or maybe even hold off on that stretch. So, having good body awareness is going to be really, really beneficial in achieving any fitness goals you have. Okay, so what is body awareness really? I know we've been talking about anatomy, but body awareness isn't just about knowing anatomy. It's really about knowing how your body moves through space and how it feels. Let me share a good example that highlights a struggle with body awareness and knowing where your body is in space, because this is a key part of body awareness. So, example, I think one of the most challenging exercises to teach is what's called a hip hinge. It's basically a movement where you kind of bend forward from the hips. You're trying to keep the spine in neutral and like a little slight bend in your knees. Then you come back up to standing. It seems like it would be really simple, right? But it's actually challenging for a lot of people. People tend to either flex their spine when they try to hinge forward, or they'll kind of turn the movement into like a squat. And even with verbal cues and with a visual like demonstration, they'll try it again. They feel like they're doing it right, but they're not. So this would be an example of poor body awareness. And if this is you, you're not doomed. Body awareness can improve with practice, with feedback, with your patience. So for someone like in this example, oftentimes we need to go over to like a mirror so they can see themselves, or they'll need like hands-on cues. But it can improve, but it's just an example of how having poor body awareness can impact your movement patterns. Another layer of body awareness is tuning in to sensory signals. I can't tell you how many times I would see someone with low back issues who was trying to take care of it themselves. And after evaluating them, I'd find out that they were actually doing stretches in a direction that was making their problem worse. And I don't expect people to know how to diagnose and treat their low back pain. That's why you have physical therapists and doctors. But if they had better body awareness, they may have realized that what they were doing was at the very least making their issue worse, or maybe they at least would have gotten professional help sooner. So that's another way body awareness comes into play. All right, so we talked a lot about the physical aspects of body awareness, but let's not forget our body also responds to emotions, right? So we have that mind-body connection. Stress can show up as tension in your body, right? Sometimes in your neck, your pelvic floor. Stress can give you issues with your gut. I mean, there's so many ways that stress can show up physically. Of course, don't write off pain as emotional. I would still suggest seeing a doctor to make sure physically you're okay, but I think it's important to remember that sometimes physical symptoms are pointing to something more emotional underneath. When we ignore this, we may be missing a key piece in our healing journey. So the mind-body connection is very real. Now, I know we've talked a lot about the negative signals we can get from our body, right? We were talking about pain, stress, those things, but I want you to remember that there's also good signals, and remember to notice the good signals. So something like maybe you've been working on your flexibility and now you can go deeper into a stretch, or you had elbow pain for a month and it's finally gone. These are wins and they're worth celebrating. So don't forget to tune into what's going right in terms of your body. So I at least want to give you some pointers on how you can improve your body awareness. So exercise is really going to be the best way to work on this. I find that workouts like weight training, doing yoga, or maybe even like Pilates can kind of help to improve body awareness more than like a cardio type activity. That's because cardio, it's really more a repetitive motion, at least most forms of cardio that we do. And if you do other forms of exercise where you're moving in different directions, I think it's more helpful in improving body awareness. So other tips that I have are to learn what muscles are working with an exercise that you're doing so that you could really focus on that muscle while you're doing your exercise. Using a mirror to watch your form while you do exercises can also be helpful, because sometimes it might feel like you're doing an exercise right, and then you look in the mirror and you go, oh, no, I need to correct that. So using a mirror can definitely be helpful. And remember that improving your body awareness is going to take practice. So the first time you go to a yoga class or you do yoga, maybe you need a lot of form corrections, but then by your fifth class, your body starts to remember the correct form and you need less guidance. So practice makes a difference. Somatic practices can definitely help as well. I have 2 somatic yoga sessions here on YouTube that I'd be happy to link below for you guys. I will just say they are general practices, so if you have any specific conditions or injuries, just keep in mind that you may need to modify as needed. Which leads me to my next suggestion of working with a trainer or a physical therapist for extra guidance, especially if you have conditions that limit how you should move. You might need that extra one-on-one guidance. Also, if you struggle with your form, one-on-one guidance is also going to be really helpful. And my last suggestion is meditation, and I know this seems different than the other ones, but the point of meditation is to allow us to look inward, right? So part of body awareness is being in tune with what our body's telling us. It's not just about how our body is moving. And there's so many distractions in the external world that it can be really impactful to take the time to sit with ourselves in quiet. And actually, I am thinking for next week to maybe post a body scan meditation. I'll do it here on YouTube, so keep an eye out for that. One last thing that I'm thinking of that I want to mention here is to please question what's normal, because some people live with symptoms that they've kind of just come to accept. It's just the way it is. And pelvic health stuff is a really great example of this because people don't know that there's help for them. For example, like needing to go pee every 30 minutes or experiencing pain during sex. These are things that are not normal and they are not things that you have to live with. They are often very treatable. So don't just accept things because they've been that way for a while. Definitely seek help because you deserve to really feel the best in your body. Getting to know your body is definitely a process, and having a thorough understanding of anatomy doesn't mean that you're going to have great body awareness. It definitely can help, and I'm sure there's some anatomy geniuses out there that you might see working out in the gym or something, and you'll be like, how do they have so much knowledge of their body? It's really about gaining some knowledge and then applying it to your life. And each individual person is different, which is why it's so important to get to know yourself. If you look at the anatomy of 2 different people, the basics are going to be the same for the most part, but if you look closely, there will be differences, and everyone's body is going to respond differently to things as well. Example, some people feel great after eating a large salad, and then some people feel bloated. You have the ability to know yourself better than anyone else if you give yourself the right tools. So, look at how you feel after certain things. How does your body respond to different types of exercise? Ask yourself how you feel after eating certain types of foods. Thinking about when you go to bed at a certain time, do you feel better in the morning? These are the kinds of questions that you could look at with some curiosity to really deepen that connection with your body. I hope you feel more inspired to learn about your body, to work with your body awareness after this video. But remember, it is a learning process. When working on learning more about your body, really try to enjoy the process, enjoy the journey. And if this conversation around body awareness has resonated with you and you're feeling called to go deeper, I would love to invite you to check out my Patreon community. And actually, this month's theme that literally just released does actually tie really nicely into body awareness, but we're going even deeper. So we're looking at what's called the koshas, which are the 5 layers of our being in yoga philosophy. So the first 2 koshas relate to the physical body, then the other 3 are more subtle mental and energetic layers. It's a really powerful framework for using your body as a path to spiritual growth. So, if you are interested in that, that was just released, and you'll get an educational video, a meditation, and a yoga practice. So the link to my Patreon will be down below. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button right below me, and I will see you guys in another video. Bye, guys.